Yeah, so I think from kind of the word go, it's going to be some really close fighting out there in this next leg. It's you know, these boats have already shown that there's some really close fighting, and the layout of the leg, the weather and strategy is going to bring us super close together. You know, firstly we've got to get away from Itajaí, and you're never really sure what the wind's going to be like. Can be quite light winds, and then before we get to the coast of Brazil, it's a bit of a straight line speed fight. You know, we're going to be a long time on one tack, long time on starboard, because you have the trade winds both north and south of the equator. So that keeps you on starboard tack, and you know, these boats are very similar in speed. In these kind of foiling modes, we're going to be hitting some nice fast speeds, but also all very close together, and finding out who's really the fastest at kind of reaching along. And then by the time you cross the equator and get into the doldrums, you're expecting some quite light wind transitions. You can see the fleet bunching up again, and some boats might get luckier than others in terms of finding some nicer squalls, some nicer wind patches. And so there's a little bit of a element of luck there, an element of surprise, I'd say. And then we get into the northern hemisphere, where you have the Gulf Stream, which is generating these very fast depressions. So you can suddenly find yourself in a kind of early forming depression with really strong, quite gusty winds, or you could also find yourself in a light wind, high pressure situation. So we're really not sure what to expect towards the kind of final approach to Newport. It could be 30 knots like it was in the last race, or it could be 5 or 10 knots of wind. But you know, with these early forming depressions, you get some really nasty sea state, you know, bouncing the boats around, and you're going to have to make sure you keep the boat in one piece all the way to the finish. And then that final approach into Newport, you've got a really strong current taking us away from the finish line, and you could see some really light, tricky winds there as well. So what that might mean is that you could have a nice advantage of a few hundred miles, but that could disappear very quickly, and the results tables could kind of flip upside down in those last few hours. So you've really got to keep the motivation right to the finish, and you know, until you cross that line, it's never finished, basically. So yeah, I've really enjoyed my time in the area and in Itajaí. I've had a bit of time on the beaches here and a bit of time exploring the mountains and rainforest. There's some really beautiful places around here, but it's been super important to try and, you know, gain some weight, get some proper food, some proper sleep. Not always easy as you'd think when you come back from these long legs. You know, it's so built into your routine to being in the ocean that suddenly when you try and sleep in a bed for 8-10 hours, it just doesn't happen. So I've slowly got my body back into it, tried to recover as best as possible, but yeah, I think ready for the next leg now. So yeah, so this time round, being the skipper, it was a bit more planned. You know, we'd known from the start that I'd be taking over for this leg, whereas leg 2 was a bit of a last-minute step-in. Only 4 days before the start, we knew that Boris had burnt his foot too badly to carry on, so it was a bit kind of thrown upon me then, I'd say. But you know, I really enjoyed the responsibility of leg 2. I'm really happy to have had that experience. We fought super hard, although we didn't get the result we wanted to in Cape Town. We were so close to being up there in kind of first place, and now I'm looking forward to that responsibility again, to lead the team into this next one. We've managed to prove ourselves quite nicely in this last leg, prove that we can be fast and competitive, and now we're kind of second in the overall leaderboard. It's yeah, it puts us in a good place. So there's a little bit of pressure on there results-wise. We want to really focus and kind of see if we can keep proving ourselves and show that we keep progressing the fastest out of all the teams. And yeah, if I can lead the team into another nice result, that would be really cool. Yeah, it's you know, the last leg went really well for us. It started off very badly, and we showed really well how strong we are as a team, that we're able to come back. And although it's our conditions for our boat's really been designed around the Southern Ocean conditions, we also proved ourselves in the not so windy conditions as well. So you know, although this leg is back in kind of Atlantic waters, it's going to be a bit more of a dogfight, kind of much closer racing, I feel. I think we've proven that we've really found the modes in the boat. We've found our speed, and I think that we can pull out another nice result. You know, Wholesome has been so strong in the first three parts of the race, winning all of them, and now we've kind of found the first kind of chink in their armour, I'd say. And yeah, we'll see how we can compete in this next one.